guys, it's Ash from Elevate My Faith, and today I just want to go over some parables that have been really helping me with like my problem of scorekeeping and keeping like a fairness and justice calculator, which is so easy to do since we are human. So yeah, I just wanted to go over that today with you guys. So my pastor's been going through the book of Matthew, and now we were on chapter 20 this past Sunday, and he went over the laborers in the vineyard. And that was one of the parables that was really convicting me this past Sunday about scorekeeping and being fair and all that. So I'm just going to read it and get into it and go over some things my pastor said about it. So, laborers in the vineyard. For the kingdom of heaven is like a master of a house who went out early in the morning to hire laborers for his vineyard. After agreeing with the laborers for a denarius a day, he sent them into his vineyard. And going out about the third hour, he saw others standing idle in the marketplace, and to them he said, "You go into the vineyard too, and whatever is right I will give you." So they went. Going out again about the 6th hour and the 9th hour, he did the same. And about the 11th hour, he went out and found others standing. And he said to them, "Why do you stand here idle all day?" They said to him, "Because no one has hired us." He said to them, "You go into the vineyard too." And when evening came, the owner of the vineyard said to his foreman, "Call the laborers and pay them their wages, beginning with the last up to the first." And when those hired about the 11th hour came, each of them received a denarius. Now, when those hired first came, they thought they would receive more, but each of them also received a denarius. And on receiving it, they grumbled at the master of the house, saying, "These last worked only 1 hour, and you have made them equal to us who have borne the burden of the day in the scorching heat." But he replied to one of them, "Friend, I am doing you no wrong. Did you not agree with me for a denarius? Take what belongs to you and go. I choose to give this last worker as I give to you. Am I not allowed to do what I choose with what belongs to me, or do you begrudge my generosity? So the last will be first, and the first last." So this parable also plays more into the like being in your faith for like 50 years as opposed to someone in their faith for 50 minutes, as my pastor explained, and like getting upset that they're going to receive the same grace and salvation as you, even though you were more dedicated in your life than they were. Maybe they waited till their deathbed to commit to Christ, and obviously they were like the last hour worker that didn't contribute as much but still get to receive the same gracious gift from God of salvation and grace. So sometimes I think it can be easy for the 12-hour shifters, or like the people who've been in their faith and feel like they've been doing more work and harder things longer, to get, I guess, upset that the ones that come in later get the same rewards. But it doesn't even really matter, because just like in the parable, they agreed to, what was going to be given to them, the denarius, even though they did work for 12 hours and all that. And they just got upset because then they saw the workers doing less get the same amount as them. And that was their issue, because they did agree to just a denarius, like, the master was saying. And yeah, they just got upset with that. He was giving his belongings away to them, even though it wasn't even theirs to begin with, or their problem. This can also be applied to thinking God's not fair for giving more things to someone else than you. My pastor also went over that, maybe you've been trying for kids for so long and nothing's been working, and then this couple that's not even that serious in their faith, or maybe they slept around and didn't take it seriously and they got pregnant instantly, and it can get easy to get bitter or upset and thinking, "This isn't fair, God, I've been doing everything you want me to do and I'm not getting the things I want." But this is where my pastor said, if we ask for what we think we deserve, it's honestly eternity in hell. So we have to keep that in mind when we're thinking, "Oh, we deserve what's coming to us." But really, that's not a good thing. We should be glad that God is giving us things we don't deserve, which is his grace, kindness, mercy, love, salvation. He also related this parable to the parable of the prodigal son and the wayward son who in that, well, I'll just paraphrase this one real quick, but he took his father's inheritance and he blew it all on strippers or hookers or whatever, and went to the city and was getting crazy, got drunk, sleeping around. And then he was in the pigsty before he decided to come back to his father, and he was just so happy to see his son. And then the other son that did everything right, per se, was so upset, saying, why does he get a feast but I don't? I did everything right. But it's the same thing, we technically don't deserve any of this from our Father. And we should just be happy that those do come back to Christ, even if they are that last hour worker or that wayward son that went and did all this crazy stuff. But as long as they come back to God, that's really all that matters. And the third parable I think about while thinking about this topic is the parable of the unforgiving servant in Matthew 18. To paraphrase this one real quick, a king, the one servant owes the king a huge debt, and the king just forgives him and says, like, you don't owe it to me anymore. And he was so happy and like blessed and everything. But then someone owed that servant a debt, and it was way less smaller than what he owed the king. But he got mad at them and said, no, you have to owe me this money, and like did not forgive them all, just like the king did for him. Now, this parable is more about forgiveness and forgiving others because God forgives us. But I also think it can go into that scorekeeping mentality, like God does all this stuff for us, and then we kind of expect other people to be equal to us and giving us what we think we deserve. And it's so easy to keep score of like money and stuff. Like maybe, like you feel like you're always giving money to someone like to go, like for going out to eat or driving more, doing more gas money and stuff like that. And then you feel like they should be doing the same and always returning the favor no matter what. But we have to keep in mind that our money is not even ours. It's actually God, and we should be using it as a tool to help others and everything. And of course, there's that balance and fine line of not being a doormat and being completely taken advantage of. But we shouldn't get so caught up in our money and finances or scorekeeping of like who's doing what for us, because it says in the Bible, even a sinner will give to those who can return it to him, the money back to him. So a Christian should be giving without the expectation of getting something in return. And my pastor also went over 4 don'ts, which I think really helps with scorekeeping or, trying not to be upset about God being fair with us. So I'm going to read those to use. The 4 don'ts. 1, don't assume that God owes you. So this can always cause issues, like I said about, maybe you think, you need that, like to have that baby or to get that job promotion or this or that or whatever. But God doesn't owe you anything, we are all sinners, and he's just so gracious enough to forgive us, love us, give us salvation. So yeah, do not assume that God owes you, because he definitely doesn't. 2, don't grumble about how God chooses to bless others, because, obviously the comparison thing just steals your joy every time. Don't get upset that others have things that you don't. You should just be joyful and happy for them. But I know that human mentality can come in and ruin that for us, but we have to hold on to that and not get bitter or upset with comparisons. 3, don't look down on the 5 p.m. workers. So we should not be getting upset with people that come in last minute and get the same, gifts as us and everything, because we're honestly those 5 p.m. workers as well in a way, to God and stuff. So we should not ever be thinking we're better than our Christians just because we do more of this or that or anything like that. And 4, don't always look at what you can get, but on what you can give. So this is a great reminder for me, because it's so quick to think like, who can give me this in return or give me that? But like, honestly, we should be focused on just giving, because none of these material possessions matter down here. And the more we give willingly and freely out of our hearts down here, the more rewards we get in heaven is what really matters. Not any of this money down here, possessions down here. No, like all the rewards in heaven is really what matters. Because yes, salvation is a gift for everyone. No, everyone will get that no matter what. But you will get more rewards in heaven for the things you do here on earth. So that's like always great to think about and keep me in perspective when I'm starting to get scorekeeping or just wanting to hold on to possessions instead of just give more freely. And this is where being others focused really comes into play, because as in these parables, you can see how every single person, the 12 p.m. workers, the prodigal son, and even in the unforgiving servant, like they all made it about them, like I, and like what they could get and what could benefit them and everything, instead of like the other person and just being happy for them as well, or to forgive them, or to just be happy that God is blessing them. So yes, it's very important to be others focused. That's why there's constant reminders about it in the Bible from Paul. And just so important to just be so grateful for God's grace, mercy, salvation, all those wonderful gifts from him. I'm just really glad I was convicted this past Sunday about my scorekeeping mentality, and and worry about money and all that. Yeah, definitely good reminder. And then I thought like, oh, I should make a video on this because I'm sure other people have issues with this as well. It's very easy to do so because we're so human. So yeah, I just really hope you guys can like meditate on these parables like I've been doing and just really get some good, motivation, inspiration from them to be more others focused, more forgiving, more giving, and all of that. So yeah, thank you guys so much for checking out this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye! Amazing grace, how sweet.